Well, guys, AFCON is set and ready to go after the final draw taking place a week and a half or so ago. And with that being said, though, it's time to go back over these teams, figure out how these groups stack up against one another, and give you some all-important information on the 24 teams that we'll be seeing in January of 2024. Guys, Matty G. Beck here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to it. We'll get things kicked off, of course, in Group A with Ivory Coast, currently ranked 50th in the world. The Elephants are two-time champions of this competition back in 1992 and of most recent 2015. They've made the knockout stage in 7 of the last competitions, but keep in mind the last time Ivory Coast hosted this tournament back in 1984, they were knocked out in the group stage. Hopefully that won't happen this time around. We saw how loaded this country was in terms of their roster back in 2010 and 2014, making a couple of World Cup appearances, but this nation's kind of been in limbo of late in terms of just what this team could potentially bring, and I think being on their own soil in front of their own fans, this could be a huge opportunity for them to make a deep run. As for Nigeria, the Super Eagles, currently ranked 40th in the world. They are 3-time champions of AFCON, the last one being in 2013. They finished 3rd or higher in 13 different AFCON competitions over the years, so certainly keep your eye out for Nigeria. Certainly disappointing this side didn't make the World Cup in 2014. We saw the young, talented group they had in 2018 that almost made it to the knockout stages. Hopefully now, 5 years gone, they have a good opportunity to make a deep run in this competition, especially considering the history that they have in this tournament. As for Equatorial Guinea, the National Thunder, I love that nickname. They're currently ranked 92nd in the world. This is just the 4th time they've ever qualified. But of those 3 different times that they have qualified before, they've made the quarterfinals twice and the semifinals once back in 2015. That's certainly some high expectations for a side that's only qualified 3 different times. We'll have to wait and see if they can make another deep run as they've done before. But keep in mind, of course, with the potential of 3 different teams getting out of the group, that certainly helps Equatorial Guinea's chances of getting out and making it back to the knockout stages. As for Guinea-Bissau, the last team in the group, this is their 4th consecutive appearance. They've been knocked out of the group stage, though, in all 3 times that they've qualified before and have yet to win a game in those 3 appearances. Keep in mind, as well, they haven't scored a goal since 2017, but hopefully for Guinea-Bissau, this will be a good opportunity to be competitive in this group and at least put on a good showing. Now on to Group B, and we'll start with Egypt. The Pharaohs, currently ranked 35th in the world. They're 7-time champions of the AFCON tournament. That's the most of any African nation. They had a three-peat between 2006 and 2010, but then they would go on to miss the next 3 tournaments after that incredible run. However, though, as of late, they've been pretty solid. They've made it to the final in 2017 and 2021. Certainly look to see Mo Salah stay healthy and help take this team to another deep run in AFCON during January. As for Ghana, the Black Stars, currently ranked 60th in the world. They're 4-time champions, but the last title was in 1982. However, though, between the years of 2008 and 2017, they made a run to the semifinals or better. But keep in mind, the run in 2021 was cut short in the group stage. I think they need a big response. They've struggled in their last couple of friendlies between Mexico and the United States. Hopefully, though, with World Cup qualifying starting up here pretty soon and this competition coming up, this will be the ticket for Ghana to kind of get out of that funk. As for Cape Verde, the Blue Sharks, currently ranked 71st in the world. This is just their 4th appearance in AFCON. They made it to the round of 16, though, in 2021 before getting bumped out. But again, they were one of those 3rd-place teams that got out of the group with 4 points, had a 0 in terms of their goal differential. I definitely think Cape Verde would do well to have a similar statistic line to try and help get themselves through to the knockout stages this time around as well. As for Mozambique, the Mambas are currently ranked 113th in the world. Certainly some rare occasions in terms of their appearances in this competition. They have been spread out over the years. The last time appearing in this tournament, I believe, was 2010, and they've never made it out of the group stage and still yet to win a game in 12 matches in this competition. The best they've been able to do is 2 draws out of those 12 games. Starting things off in Group C with Senegal, the Lions of Teranga, managed by Aliou Cisse, who's been in charge for quite a while now, and certainly hope that he will continue to stick around. I really like him being in charge of this federation. Senegal are currently ranked 20th in the world. They are the defending champions of AFCON, winning it back in 2021. That was their first title. Now, again, they had a solid run in the World Cup back in November, but the loss of Sadio Mane was certainly devastating for them in terms of just how competitive this team could be and how dangerous they were going forward in the attack as well. Hopefully, Mane stays healthy, and this team has a really good opportunity to make another deep run in January. Moving on to Cameroon, the Indomitable Lions are currently ranked 41st in the world. They're five-time champions of this tournament, most recent being back in 2017. Vincent Aboubakar had 8 goals in 2021. That was the most of anyone in the tournament. Remember, they put on a really solid performance as well in the World Cup. They went on to beat Brazil in their final group stage game, even though they still got bumped out. I think Cameroon have a good shot to get through in this group and hopefully make at least a run to the quarterfinals, if potentially not farther. As for Guinea, the National Elephants are ranked 81st in the world. They've reached the round of 16 in the last 2 editions, surviving on just 4 points in the group stage both times. They also drew with Senegal in the group stage in 2021, which is an interesting scoreline. So keep that in mind as these two teams will face off again in the group stage this time around. And if Guinea can pull that off again, especially with the opportunity to get through with 3 teams in a group, that could be huge for them if they can stay that competitive with Senegal and Cameroon. As for the Gambia, the final team in this group, the Scorpions are ranked 118th in the world. 2021 was their first ever appearance in this competition, and they made it all the way to the quarterfinals. They beat Tunisia and Mauritania in the group stage, and then went on to the knockouts where they beat Guinea in the round of 16. But keep in mind that Gambia won all 3 of those games with a scoreline of 1-0. So they played incredibly well defensively, kept some clean sheets, but struggled to score goals. But hey, if you can get through on 1-0, you'll certainly take it. And the Gambia were able to do it 3 different times. Coming on to Group D now, where we'll start with Algeria. And I am a huge fan of their current uniforms. If you haven't had the opportunity to see what they look like, definitely go online and check those out if you can. But Algeria are currently ranked 34th in the world. They're 2-time champions of this tournament. They won it on their own soil back in 1990 and most recent in 2019. But they were bumped out in the group stage in 2021. Just a draw versus Sierra Leone was the most that they were able to do in the group stage just 2 years ago. So definitely expect more from Algeria this time around. I definitely think they'll get through the group at least and make a run to the knockouts. We'll see if, Riyad Mahrez, Slimani, and some others can help put this team in a good position. Obviously, they've got, some aging veterans and pretty inexperienced at the goalkeeper position, just currently 15 caps between their 3 current goalkeepers at the moment. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye out for that. But still, Algeria are a really good side and should make a deep run in this tournament. Now on to Burkina Faso, the Stallions. Another good team with really solid uniforms right now. Definitely go check those out as well. They're ranked 58th in the world. They've never won the competition, but they've come close several times. They finished 4th in 2021. They won 7-6 on penalties versus Gabon and then beat Tunisia in their quarterfinal. I definitely think Burkina Faso makes it back to the knockout stages. We'll have to see, though, if they're poised to make a deep run or if they could possibly stumble in the round of 16. Moving on to Mauritania, who are currently ranked 99th in the world. Guys, they've got a black and yellow alternate kit right now. Again, huge fan of it. Definitely go check that out if you get the chance to. This is their 3rd straight appearance. They are seeking, though, their first win. They went 0-3 back in 2021, and only one guy has more than 10 goals on their current roster or through their recent call-up. So definitely going to have to find some guys that can put the ball in the back of the net or at least be a bit more dangerous in the final third for them. And then last but not least, Angola, final team in this group, currently ranked 117th in the world. They made runs to the quarterfinals in 2008 and 2010 when they hosted the tournament, but they have never made it to the knockouts otherwise in their other 6 appearances. They've got a wide variety of players that play in a lot of different leagues across Europe, so I definitely think this team is pretty solid and talented. We'll have to see if they can do some damage in this group and possibly get through as maybe a 3rd team or maybe one of those 2 top spots. We'll have to wait and see. But another side with a lot of inexperience at the goalkeeper position as well, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that moving forward. Now on to Group E, and we'll start with Tunisia, who are currently ranked 29th in the world. They were champions of this tournament back in 2004 when they were the hosts. Usually this side is good for a run to the knockout stages, but for some reason the quarterfinals seem to stump them an awful lot. They've been bumped out in the quarters 7 of the last 15 tournaments they were a part of. I definitely think this Tunisian side were improving from their 2018 appearance in the World Cup to 2022, and with that result against France, that is something that should not be taken lightly. Again, maybe France wasn't playing as aggressive as they could have been, considering they had already qualified for the knockout stages, but still, a very impressive result for Tunisia. They only conceded 1 goal in that group stage, but at the same time only scored 1 goal through those 3 games. So would love to see them be more clinical and aggressive moving forward, but in terms of keeping numbers behind the ball and defending well, they've looked pretty solid as of late in a major competition. Moving on to Mali, who are currently ranked 49th in the world. They finished 2nd, 3rd, or 4th 6 different times in this tournament, but yet to win it all. They were bumped out in the round of 16 in the last 2 events. Keep your eye out for Ibrahima Kone, who's got 13 goals for this side. They were also one of those sides that missed out on the 2022 World Cup due to that final African playoff leg. Would have loved to have seen Mali get through and make it to the World Cup, but unfortunately it didn't happen. I think, though, this side has a good opportunity to make the round of 16 this time around and maybe go deeper. Moving on to South Africa, Bafana ranked 65th in the world. They were 1996 champions. They didn't qualify, though, in 2021, and they really need to have a good tournament, in my opinion. The side doesn't have a lot of caps in terms of this team overall, and their current midfield only has 1 player at the moment with 26 caps. The rest have less than 10. So this is a fairly inexperienced side, especially at that position, and considering how important we obviously all know the midfield is, I think that's a key part of this team to keep your eye out for through this group stage. Last but not least, we've got Namibia, who are ranked 114th in the world. This is just their 4th appearance in the tournament. They're looking to break that group stage hump, and they've picked up their first AFCON win, though, back in 2019. Definitely look to see this side continue to try and move in the right direction. This is still a difficult group that they're going to have to go up against, but I like their opportunities to at least be competitive. Keep your eye out for Elmo Kambindu, Peter Shalulili, and Dion Hoto, some guys that are forwards and wingers for this side that could really be beneficial to how successful this team is. Group F for me starts out with one of the best teams in the tournament and possibly the outright favorite. It's Morocco. The Atlas Lions, currently ranked 13th in the world. They've made runs to the quarterfinals in 2 of the last 3 tournaments, but they haven't been to the final since 2004. I definitely think this is one of the best teams in terms of just their favorite to win it all. We'll have to see how deep of a run they can make. I definitely think they should at least get to the semifinals, if not the final. Keep your eye out for Bono, their goalkeeper, of course, Ashraf Hakimi, Amrabat, Ziyech, and others. This team will be loaded, and I'm certainly excited to watch them play some incredibly good football here coming in the near future. Moving on to DR Congo, ranked 64th in the world. The Leopards are usually good for a run to the knockouts. They finished 3rd twice since they were under the name DR Congo, but they have won it twice under different names that the country went by. Back in 1968, they went by the name Congo Kinshasa, and in 1974, they won it all when they were under the name Zaire. So again, hopefully DR Congo have a good opportunity to make a run, at least to the knockout stages. We'll have to wait and see just how far they could potentially go. Moving on to Zambia, ranked 82nd in the world. The Copper Bullets were the 2012 champions. Of course, remember, they missed out on the 2010 and 2014 World Cup. They still have yet to qualify for a World Cup, but those felt like 2 opportunities that they could have really made it. That was a very strong side they had back a decade or so ago. Again, I think that this team has a good opportunity to at least be competitive. We'll have to see just how competitive. I think, though, that this group is at least fairly open in terms of that 2nd place spot, in my opinion. But Zambia have not been back in this tournament since 2015, so we'll have to see just how good they can be being back in the spotlight for this AFCON tournament. Last but not least, we've got Tanzania, ranked 122nd in the world. They've had 2 prior appearances, their last being in 2019. Before that, they hadn't qualified since 1980. Keep your eye out for Ali Samata, He's got 83 appearances with 21 goals, and Simon Msuva, who has 68 appearances with 22 goals. Two guys that definitely are going to help lead the charge in terms of just how good this team could possibly be in this group stage. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and let us know down in the comments as well who you're rooting for in this competition. We've got predictions on this tournament coming up in the near future, as well as predictions and more insight on the African World Cup qualifying, which begins in November as well. So, guys, make sure you stay tuned, stick around with us. We've got a lot in store for you in the near future, and we certainly hope you will be a part of it. But, guys, hope you enjoy yourselves. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Peace.